Describe us your first night in prison.
So first of all, thank you for your willingness to talk about your time in prison. Let's
Thank you.
start with the basics. You don't have to go into great detail, but why were you in prison and what was your original sentence?
Actually, the first I got into prison because I did a mistake along my life, and then my original sentence was 8 years 1 day to 14 years maximum, and it was like very long for me that the prison life is so bad. The sentence is too high, and then yeah, it goes like that.
Oh,
Too
I
long.
see. Yeah. Can you describe your childhood and what it was like growing up?
My childhood was like best. My family, we are Christians, we happy family. I grew up in a subsistence living, like we grow our own food, we in a garden, and then we have sea where we're gonna get our fish, like meat, anything. It's like free. Whenever we want to sell the growing food that we have, we get it, we sell it. And the best one we want to eat, we eat. Some of them we sell it. Also in the fishing, when we get many fishes, the best one we sell it, the others we eat. That's the lifestyle I grew up with in the community, or being a subsistence lifestyle.
Yeah.
And most Papua New Guinea, we live in subsistence living. That's where I grew up.
Next question. So what were your aspirations and dreams before you were incarcerated?
Oh, my dream was like, I used to want to be a pilot. I really want to be a pilot. I always said, whenever I want to be a missionary pilot, but anyway, the dream did not come true. I get into the prison, and then I did not continue my dream of being a pilot. Yeah, I started looking at, the life is messed up like that. I did not. I usually think my dream was to be a pilot, the missionary pilot. That was my dream, but it did not went through. I did not went through studying like that.
So next, what were some of the most important things you learned from your parents or other influential people in your life?
Especially the one thing that I learned about my parents, faithful to God, and my mom, never give up. It's like one thing that you do, you never give up. That's the most important thing that I learned from my mom, especially my mother. She never give up doing one thing that she aims to. And other people that are around me, the lifestyle is like faithful to the Lord. Whatever hope that you have, whatever dreams that you want, don't lose hope. One day it will become true like that.
Yeah. So what were some of the challenges you faced before incarceration?
The challenges that I faced before I get into the prison was like, the hardest life I face is in my mission field. I usually go out to the people, especially when they are speaking their native language and Bisaya language. It's hard for me to understand, but I hold the hand of the children, and then that's the way I touch the heart of the parents. And then whenever I go, they speak to me in their native language. I don't understand, but I try to do my best. That is the hardest thing that I face in my mission field. Yeah.
So what were some of the things you enjoyed doing outside work or school?
Some of the things I enjoy doing Bible study, and then in schools I teach children, and then go out to the mission field, which we're gonna do some of our work, which is enjoyable. We go to the people, teach them things that they never do. That's the enjoyable things that I ever do during that time.
Segment 2, experiences during incarceration. So, can you describe what it was like to be arrested and taken into custody?
It was like, first when I was arrested, I was like, oh, nothing gonna happen. Next day I'm gonna get out. It was like nothing to me. But the longer that I stay, the longer, like it was like, oh, it took me long. Like when I got into, it started getting boring in my life. So it was like, sure, you don't have to expect things, but it went painful. You know, the days goes by every week. It went that it's so painful when I think of it when I arrested.
So, what was your experience like in prison? What did it look, smell, and sound like?
First of all, when you talk about prison, when I first entered, very small room with more than 100 people. It's unbelievable. When I first went inside, crowded. Then I was like, oh, very crowded, small room, and then crowded people inside. Boys were standing. You know, it was like, I really cannot imagine how that was. Crowded people, small room, and the smell, like everybody were sweating and then like standing. There's nowhere to go. They're gonna stand where they are, sitting there because it is crowded, you know, crowded place. Oh, when I first entered, it was like, I've never been. I really can't think of that one.
So, how did you communicate with people outside of prison?
Oh, talking about communicate with people outside the prison, it's very, very hard.
Yeah.
But I can say a prison is a place where there is no communication, but there usually be illegal things like we own some cell phones, so we usually make communication to people outside. Like, I don't know how cell phone get inside, but it get inside. So I think, yeah, some of my best friends, I communicate them. And from time to time, it takes many years before I communicate my parents. Yeah.
Using cell phone?
Yeah, using cell phone.
So, what were some of the most difficult things you experienced while incarcerated?
The difficult things that I faced was, the hardest in the prison was the food that we eat. The food is not delicious actually. The way you want to eat the food is like hard to describe. The food that you expect won't come on the table or the seat, the plate that you want to eat. It's like the more you want to eat, the food is not delicious. So it's like hungry man, angry man. The first thing. The second thing is like, I can say, was like the health issues. When you get sick, there is no right medical treatment you're gonna get. That is the hardest thing. And the third thing that I want to say is the value about the life in the prison. The hardest thing is value about the life. So don't misuse the opportunity. That's when I was in prison in Sutai, I did not value the life that I have. That is the three things that I have lesson. Yeah, the things that the hardest part of the life is. First is food, second is medical treatment, and third is the value of life. That is the hardest part when I was in class, I think of it.
So, how did you cope with the challenges of prison life?
It's very hard, you know, sometimes I cry in the prison. But you know, the more I went through, I have hope, I was patient. You know, it takes me very, very long years for me to accept myself being in prison. Actually, it takes, I think, 5 to 7 years, I think, to make me accept myself as being a Christian. I was in the prison, acceptance. So it was like, yeah, I stay calm. And I was praying hopeful when I was in the prison. That is.
What did you do to pass the time and stay busy?
Oh, most of the time, I usually do wash clothes. And then, sometimes I get my busy myself with first thing when I met Sedby. It was like I get busy with the activities that they give. So, it's like, oh, I have to do this instead of being stressful. Being in prison is like not that easy. It's stressful. When you don't have enough food, you don't have medical, get enough things. It's so stressful. So in order for me to get myself busy, I look for water to wash my clothes. I stay busy with it, and then second is like I cope up with Sedby modules, assignments, students. Like that's the way I get busy to myself within the prison.
Segment 3, Setby Experiences. What are your biggest concerns about re-entering society?
The biggest concern about my re-entering society is like, for me, actually, there is fear within me. When I'm going to go back home, where then people are going to look at me, they're gonna talk about the past that I went through. Actually, they're gonna get, what you can call that, they're gonna get afraid. Oh, they're gonna look at what the past is going, what the life I went through, and then, oh, he is like that. Actually, that really happens, and it will happen, That's what I usually think of. Oh, when I'm going about, they're gonna really talk about my bed, and they're gonna really look at me, who I am, Usually when I think about my mom and dad, oh, they're gonna really, I am the dumbest, they're gonna put me down. That is things that usually comes into my mind, and that is the greatest fear that lives within me when I was, think about that kind of situation. Going back home, going back to the community, going back to the place that I belong, and going back to the friends that I have, people that I knew, they're really gonna look at me like that. Then that usually be my thoughts and think that I will usually think of it.
What were some of the most positive or meaningful experiences you had while incarcerated?
No, when I was in the castrated, the meaningful thing that I usually have to, I have is was like that. I considered, and when I look back it, I see the value of life. The meaningful thing that I see, the value of life. I did not try to misuse it, Every time I have hope, and then the thing that I usually think about is going back to school, and what I met Sedby through that, and then Sedby was the hope. Sedby was like a new life I went through. That is the hope that I have within.
So how did you meet Setby?
Oh, I met Sedby, when I was in prison, Life is really stressful there. You won't know. People don't go there to teach, college education like that. I was, I go around, and then suddenly I heard my friends talking about there's a college education. They will be like that, and I was like, oh, sure. Can I enter that? And they will say, sure. So it was like I first met Dr. Alan, and then he's gonna talk to us, describe. Oh, I was like, oh, I was thinking, is there a education or school gonna be installed behind the bus? It's difficult, but I was like, okay. And then we were talking about education, so it was like it's an alarm between me. I'm gonna join this. So at first I met Sedby was inside the prison.
How did your time with Setby help you?
Oh, for time with the Sedby is like, I said the life is very stressful. But when I met Sedby, it was like all the stress poof, went out. Like no need to be stressed again. I have something to do with the things that they have to ask us to do. Like first thing first, they want us to comply with modules. So like I have nothing to worry about. I have something to do. They did not help us with only with the school education. They help us physically. They usually bring some of the food there. We eat, and spiritual thoughts that they taught us to be courageous. There is always a second chances in life. That is the things that I go through with the ZB.
What did you learn from your experience at ZB?
Oh, I can say my experience with ZB is like life changing. When I say life changing, it's not like being I myself, it's being my participants or other boys that we have. We really is like we change our lifestyle. Instead of being living at the same, living the standard of living or being a prisoner, we become student. We learn to go to school. We learn that there is our future at the later. We learn that there will be a hope after all. Like as I've said, when we are thinking about how bad our community gonna look at us, but we thought that we're gonna teach our community, we're gonna tell our community, not like we are, but new people.
What does ZB mean to you?
ZB is, I have to say, three things. ZB is freedom, first of all, and the second is ZB is like a hope, and then third is like ZB is a, what do you call, I can say it like ZB is reformation. It transform us, or I can say ZB is transformation.
What are your hopes and dreams for the future?
How my hopes and dreams for the future is like that. I think better life. Whatever that I have sown, the peace and the mercy that was sown upon me, gonna be sown to others too. And like my future is like, I think, good. I'm gonna cope up with everything that I have, everything that is sown to me, and I think I'm gonna deal with every situation, grab the opportunity, make good, and make good to others too.
Segment 4, Reflections and Future Plans. What do you hope to achieve in the coming years?
My hope to have the coming years, I want to study well, especially I have to grab this opportunity and so according to myself, I want to pass all the grades that I'm studying through, especially my subjects. I want to do it well. That's the hope that I have, and then graduate successfully in this coming years. I really want that to happen, and I really want to do it nicely, honestly, with all my strength and my heart. I want to go through that.
So, what are some of the things you want to do to make a positive impact on your community?
Oh, the one thing that I want to do to my community is like, I want to tell them, life is not the thing or not the time that when we go back, but life is like what we're gonna be changeful in our life. It's like things that usually go within the community is they look on everybody's back or past. So what I want to tell my community is life is not like that. In order for everybody to stay positive or look forward, is like I will give them changes is we have to look for the better future, or we have to look for the individual's life, for the good of the future of everybody, not to look at the past of everyone.
What do you wish others knew about the criminal justice system?
Oh, one thing that I want people to know about criminal justice system is prison life. Actually, prison life is hell on earth. I want people to know about it, and I don't want anyone to go to prison. When going to prison is like misuse of the freedom and opportunity that the person has. When you go there, the years that you're gonna spend, wasting of time. So I want people to know about it. The criminal justice system in the Philippines, it's like very, very bad. I can say very, very bad. So I want people to know about it. So I don't want them to go to prison like I did.
If you could change one thing about the criminal justice system, what would it be?
If I would try to change one thing about criminal justice system, I would change the lifestyle of the prisoners in the criminal justice system. I want them to, like, prison life is very, very dirty. They're human beings living there. So I want criminal justice system of the Philippines to change the lifestyle of the prisoners. Just imagine one room with 100 people, overcrowded, types of food they eat, water that they drink, medical treatment that they have. They are human beings. So I want criminal justice system of the Philippines to change that situation. I went through it and I knew it.
What advice would you give to someone who is about to enter the criminal justice system?
If I would try to advise someone who try to enter this criminal justice system, sure, when you enter the criminal justice system, you have to look at the need of the people in the prison. When you look at the people in the prison, especially the PDLs, they are not that bad they are, but there is good in them. So if somebody going into the criminal justice system, you need to look at the needs of the prisoners. Some prisoners, they want to change. They are not going to live like that for the rest of their life. They want to change, come around, or doing U-turn in their lives. They can give effect back to the community and country as well. So if I would tell anyone going into the criminal justice system, I will tell them to look at the needs of every prisoners.
How do you feel about the possibility of being rearrested?
No, I don't want that to happen. Life is very, very bad. No, I don't want, if somebody tell you you're going to rearrest that, it's like, it's very bad. It's misuse the opportunity of freedom that you have. And then getting arrested again, honestly, I don't want it to be happening. For me, honestly, it's not.
What are your thoughts on the concept of rehabilitation?
Talking about rehabilitation, it is very good. Sometimes some people, when they are not rehabilitated, they don't learn the lesson of life itself. So they think what they are doing is always right. So it is good for a person to rehabilitate and regret and know what the value of life is, so they can change the lifestyle. So I think rehabilitation is very good. It teaches lesson, it makes people regret and know the value of life is.
How do you feel about the idea of forgiveness?
For me, forgiveness is, at first I never tried to do the forgiveness also. But when I learn about forgiveness, that is really, really true. Forgiveness is, I can say, it's biblical, and it can be a standard within a human beings, deep down within hearts. I know people forgive me, and I also want to forgive also. And I can think, and I can say that forgiveness is a thing that gonna lives within a human being or within a person, that gonna erase the past and give second chance for the future of a single person.
So what is your definition of freedom?
For me, definition of freedom is like, I can say, the transformation or reformation, or I can say freedom is like a second chance or opportunity in life. That is what I can talk about, being a freedom. As for me, I said, I look at my life, and then I can recall back, I don't have freedom, but when going through Sedby, I see freedom as a second chance and a transformation and reformation in my life. So when you talk about freedom is a second chance in life.
What does success look like to you?
Success look like everything, you know. Success look like everything to me. When I'm going to miss this opportunity, if I am going to misuse it, success is nothing. But if I am going to use it, grab it in a nice manner that I am going to do it, success is everything. Success is my future. Success is my life. And success will lead me to be who I am tomorrow.
What is your biggest fear?
The biggest fear that I have is like misuse the opportunity that I have. If I am going to misuse this opportunity, I am going to be a nobody. Oh, that first. And the second is I don't want to unvalue the life that I have. That is the greatest fear that I have. If I'm not going to unvalue the life that I have, I'm gonna lose it. That is the two biggest fear that I have. I don't want to misuse this opportunity, and then I don't want to unvalue the life that I have. I have to value it, grab it, and work for the goal.
What is your biggest hope?
My biggest hope, have a good future, being a good father someday, being a good man, and pay the debt that I have, and being kind to everyone.
What are your strengths and weaknesses?
My biggest strength is like being kind, being hopeful, but my weaknesses is like sometimes, most of the time, I forget, and most of the time, I am afraid to do things. Is like when I'm new to do it, or fear. For example, I am so new in the agri-soil. The biggest fear that I have is I might fail. That is the greatest fear that I have. But you know, every time I'm feeling that I'm courage, I'm going to do it. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
So, thank you for your time, for sharing your experiences and thoughts.
Thank you very much. Thank you.